All right, guys, I'm trying something different here. This is actually take three on this video. First time was too long. Second time I forgot stuff. I'm using a selfie stick because JJ mentioned to me that he couldn't hear some of my videos very well, and I think it's not the fact that I need a microphone. I think it's the fact that the way we hold our phones, we kind of muffle the speaker a little bit. So unless we're talking directly into it, so here's the deal. Um, Everything's off at the machine shop. I talked to the machinist, super cool dude, old school, Chicago, engine builder, racer. We talked for like 2 hours. We exchanged stories and knowledge, and just one of those guys that you kind of, I felt like we kind of clicked off pretty good. So I got a good feeling he was okay with the clearances I wanted to run. Um, and he's got a very impressive shop. He doesn't actually have like a building. He has a shop at home, and he can pretty much do almost everything except hot tanking and checking for cracks. So he's sending that out to a machine shop that a friend of his actually owns, and that's going to get done. We're going to resize the rods, polish the crank, yada yada yada, all that good stuff. I think at this point, this is actually going to kind of be a proper build. I didn't know that he did cylinder head work, and he wasn't too thrilled because cylinder head work can be a little time consuming because he's got older equipment, so it takes a little bit for a valve job. So it probably wouldn't be profitable for him to do it. But I told him I just want the heads checked over, nothing, just to check them. And he's like, "Cool, I can do that." So we're gonna check everything. I'm gonna have to change valve springs for the cam I'm gonna run, and then and that's another item I forgot. And I got to get an itemized list for you guys as far as everything I got into this engine so far, to see where we're looking at. I still don't know what the machine shop bill is going to look like. Um, Hopefully not too much, but yeah. So I had both cars out over the weekend. Every weekend, I'm making it a point to drive the cars if it's nice out. I usually like to go out for a drive in the morning. People are stupid, and I usually drive west from here. You hit country roads within 3 miles, so I try to avoid driving them in town. I will take them through our little downtown area, but I won't. I don't like the city driving. People are stupid. Um, Sorry, people. I mean, viewers fall into people. I don't mean to call you stupid, but people out on the road are stupid, which could be you, but don't be stupid on the road, which I sometimes am stupid behind the road. So either way, I Saturday was a super busy day. Did a lot of running around. Let me turn on. Ooh, what I got back there? Let me turn on the light. There we go. It's Sunday, like 9:30. I have to go pick up my wife at the airport, so I decided to redo this video because I wanted to post something up. So here we go. Saturday was a busy day. Now, I haven't shared the project that my best friend and I have been doing. We got his Cutlass back up and running. Um, I got a bunch of pictures and stuff of that up on Instagram. And so we did that Friday, got it on the road. He's still waiting for tires. So at least we got the car running. We shook it out, and actually, surprisingly, for a car that's sat 16 years, it did great. So that was my Friday night. Saturday was a very busy day. Dropped off stuff at the machine shop, did stuff around the house, did stuff at the shop, and then I came home. And first of all, I went to O'Reilly's, and almost any O'Reilly's across the country will have carburetor rebuild kits on the shelf. And this is where I tell sniper guys, you're going to have a hard time finding replacement parts on the fly unless you know the breakdown. But you know what? Every single O'Reilly's I've ever been to has that little cheesy high performance section. They always have rebuild kits. They usually will have them for the Edelbrock, the 4150, and the 4160. Holly, at least, for the 4150 and 4160 Holly. So just a little tidbit there for you. If you ever need a rebuild kit, don't order it online. Just run to O'Reilly's and buy them. So I bought a rebuild kit because this carburetor does need to get going through. But this car has had a weird little stumble at light throttle. Very light throttle. And I don't know because I haven't taken the carburetor apart, but it's odd. So what I did was I started from scratch, right? So I put my vacuum gauge on. I reset the idle because this carburetor's been lent out and I really haven't touched it much. I actually had this on my boss's Camaro to diagnose some issues. So I know that it works good, but this carburetor always sits with gas in it. I never run them dry or run them low or put stable or anything in there. It needs a cleaning, and the float levels are a little high because around tight turns, it'll you could feel it load up. You know, if anybody who's ever driven a car with high float levels, you know what I'm talking about. So either way, I set that. I checked the timing. You know, I kind of drove it, and it's still there. So okay, we came back, and I've never questioned the distributor. It's a old ProComp HEI. It's suspect the quality, right? It's been in use for over 10 years. I took it out. I had a good old GM HEI sitting on the bench, and I went ahead and I put it in. I had to steal a couple parts from the ProComp unit. To I didn't have a complete distributor, but none of the hard parts. It was just I needed springs and a couple of clips for the weights, which are common E-clips. I just didn't want to go to the hardware store. So I put that on, checked the timing, set it. Still there. Okay, so it's not the distributor. So I can almost feel a light hesitation, like when you like quickly rev it, like a split hesitation on, you know, which is usually like accelerator pump circuit. So I bumped it to the most aggressive one, which is more fuel. It got worse, which is odd, right? So I'm like, okay, it's a timing issue. So I didn't have a curve kit. So what I did was I took out a 4 degrees of timing. I had it at 14. I set it to 10. It got better. I took the car out for a drive. And the hesitation wasn't as severe, but it was still there. So what I did was I picked up a curve kit today, but I didn't feel like messing with it today. I was just kind of hanging out because I had such a busy day yesterday and I worked this morning for a couple hours, and I did drive the olds. So I was, you know, just, I kind of cleaned up, organized, and put stuff away. So I picked up a curve kit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go completely the opposite way. I'm going to throw in the stiffest springs I can and see what happens and adjust from there, because I've always thrown in light springs. Now, very early on when I had the 241 gear in this thing, I had this thing set up with stiff springs, but that was a really, you know, super crappy gear. So the car was holding the engine back. But now I think like the way that I have it set up is it wants to rev up, but the, you know, it's the same situation pretty much. Like we got a better gear. The engine wants to rev now because it's got a 342 now, but it's like, again, you change the gear, you change the acceleration of the engine, and you know, and that all affects it. So again, we're kind of starting back from scratch. And you know, I did drive it last year, and you know, honestly, I don't remember it being that severe. So again, that's another reason why I want to take the carburetor apart. I don't remember really having that issue last time when we drove it last year. So who knows? At this point, I'm trying to dial it in before I rebuild the carburetor, which is right now I just have that super, super light stumble. You know, just like at literally if I'm cruising and I barely blip the throttle just lightly to like creep up forward at a light, like you feel it. Or if you're cruising at like 2000 RPM and you lightly hit the throttle, you feel it. You know, like it's got a lean spot. Like, but if you really get in it, it's not an issue. So it's just really kind of bizarre. Unless it's got like an internal vacuum leak and the step-up springs aren't working. But those step-up springs aren't even part of the accelerator circuit. So that's, again, another odd thing. So either way, I'll follow up with you guys. Again, this is just basic tuning stuff. I felt this is pretty good to share with you guys. You know, if I flat foot the car, it's pretty good. I'll get a little tire spin, but really with these big 275 60/15s in the back and their Nitto drag radials, this car really, for the weight of the car, for the engine, the power level, this thing, I'm surprised it will even spin the tires. Um, it's not. I wouldn't say it's underpowered. It's just, it's a heavy car. It's 3,700 pounds. Um, so yeah, it's kind of what I got going on. And then, I organized my parts. If anybody needs singles for the Speedboard flat tops, I got 7 of them. And then we got to port the intake. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. I'm drinking coffee, not beer. There's no Baileys in there or anything. I have to port match the intake to match the big block sized runners. So the only intakes that are readily available for the small block golds that will accept that much of a opening, grinding wise, I guess, is the Edelbrock RPM and the Victor Jr. intake. And the reason for that is Edelbrock didn't design their aluminum cylinder heads to be put on small blocks per se, but they knew that it could be done. So if you ran your small block heads and you needed an intake, this is your intake because you can port match it. Same thing with the Victor Jr. intakes, So those were, if you're, I guess in their minds, if you were going to run their total package bullshit, this would be the ticket or the Victor Jr. intake, and you can open them up and you got enough material, because an intake like the Holley Street Dominator intake does not have nearly enough material on the runners to open them up and need a lot of work. It's just not worth it. So I got a bumper here for Mr. Dave, Enron Dave. The owner of Enron now. My friend, your friend, JJ's friend, everybody's friend. Guy's a funny man. I got to paint this bumper for him. I got to figure out when we're going to go out there. We got a project in the works with JJ, but this summer is kind of screwy for everybody. So either way, I'm going to prep that out and show you guys. Well, I'm going to kind of do a video start to finish on how to get this thing ready for paint, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. And something to do, right? And then I had another subject I wanted to talk about. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned about drilling out the oil restrictors. I have to make a plate. I got a neat idea on how I'm going to do that. I'll show you guys when I do that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You drove the Olds today. Like as always, it's a trooper. It runs great on the street. It was like 86, 87 today, and the thing just kept its cool, man. After really long drives, it'll get up to like 205 maybe. It's very rare that this car hits 210 unless it's really, really hot, right? A really, really long light. But even then, my cooling system and my fans are good enough to where I actually will drop, temperature at a light because I'm not driving at extended RPMs. So I guess I need a little bit more speed on probably the water pump to match it. But even then, most people think that if you spin the water pump too fast, it doesn't spend enough time in the radiator. So that actually might be working for us with that fixed speed on that water pump drive. So either way, guys, I know I'm forgetting to say something, but now it's bugging me because this is running slightly longer than I wanted it to. But at this point, this is it. This is what you guys get for the weekend. And goodbye. Share, like, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram as Copper Cutlass, because apparently Facebook does not like my dark sense of humor, and I keep getting put in jail. So, if you guys want to see kind of more of my regular life, Instagram would be it. I share a lot of stuff I do at work. And hopefully things will get interesting here once we get stuff back from the machine shop. I ordered up some tools from an Olds racer, and I'm going to buy even more tools for measuring my engine stuff. I'm getting all new measurement stuff just for you guys. We're going to spoil you guys, right? So, see ya.